أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله عليه وسلامه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته أجمعين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. Ibadallah, we are certainly in a very precarious time. We're in a time where shaitan is working at his utmost to misguide mankind, to lead them to a place of destruction for their own selves in this world and the next. Shaitan is leading us down a path of selfishness, of lack of self-awareness, of covetousness and selfishness, of a worldview of looking at ourselves before we look at anybody else, putting ourselves first before anybody else, and making sure that we get our cut, even if it is at the expense of everyone else. This is then magnified by the seasonal celebration of Christmas and New Year's, where it magnifies the self. It is magnified in other celebrations such as birthdays and other innocuous things that we think are absolutely sort of neither here nor there and don't mean a thing. But really what they are doing is they are perpetuating the ego. They are making us, yourself, seem as the most important thing in this world over everybody else. What you receive and achieve is much more important than what anybody else gets in this world. If you acquire it, even if it is at the expense of people around you, it doesn't matter. As long as you acquire it, everybody will sing your praises and you are successful. Shaitan is working hard. He made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the very beginning. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mankind, He made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I am going to misguide every single one of the progeny of Adam. Every child that comes from Adam. Every grandchild that comes from Adam. Every single person in the bloodline of Adam alayhi salam, which is each and every single one of you, Shaitan is going to work to misguide you. This is his promise from a time before time. From a time before we had watches and clocks and sundials. Before we could tell Saturday from Sunday, Shaitan had already made this promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he made one exception, and one exception only, إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Except your most sincere and devout servants. Those I cannot touch. Those I cannot get to. My tricks will not trick them. My plans will not hurt them. No matter what I do and no matter what I set up for them, it fails. Because they recognize the tricks that I have. They recognize the plans and the plots that I set out for them. Because Allah Azza wa Jal has given them weapons. Allah Azza wa Jal has given them understanding. Allah Azza wa Jal has given them knowledge that they can identify and recognize the tricks of shaitan for what they are, whenever they see them, however they are, wherever they are. Whether they are in our social spheres, whether they are in amongst our friends and our families, whether they are on the political or international sphere. Wherever they are, they recognize the tricks and the plots of what's happening in Gaza to our Palestinian brothers and sisters. They recognize the tricks and the plots of shaitan with what's happening with our brothers and sisters in Sudan. They recognize the plots and the tricks of shaitan that happen with regards to things that are going on here in our own backyard, no matter how innocuous. Brothers and sisters, the only way to overcome the tricks of shaitan and his cronies and his allies from the Dajjal and others, the only way to overcome those barriers and those pitfalls that are set up by shaitan is being steadfast upon the deen of Islam. Whenever things get tough, whenever a derogatory term hits the fan, whenever things get rough, everybody questions where is people's morality? Where is the insaniya? Where is the humanity in people? We watch things on the news, right? And we see things on our social media, and we are horror and we are aghast at what's happening, and we can't believe it. And we're thinking, where is the Islam? We call for Islam at these times when things are really, really difficult and really, really tough, because we recognize that the solution of mankind is in Islam. It's in makarim al-akhlaq. It's in the best of manners. It's in following the best of people, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the man sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was able to unite hearts of people who were yesterday killing each other because their uncle had done something 20 years ago to their late cousin that was removed on their mother's side. He was able to unite hearts of people whose heads were as solid as rocks, who would never ever unite under any circumstances, but was able to unite them under the banner of Islam, through tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. That was the only way he was able to do it, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we recognize now with our furqa, as much as the Muslims are separated, as much as they are fighting amongst each other, as much as they can't unite with each other under any circumstances and under any other banner, no matter how nationalistic they are, no matter how much their economic objectives align with each other, doesn't matter what happens, nothing can bring them together. Nothing brings them together. There's only a small amount of time that they are together, except that they are then back at each other's throats again and fighting each other and killing each other, all for the sake of their own maslahah, all for the sake of trying to achieve and get the one up over the other. And when everything hits loose, they're like, where is Islam? Where are the Muslimin? Where is the akhlaq? Where is the morals and the ethics and so on and so forth? Recognizing that their only solution was in Islam in the first place. But by that time it's too late. Guns are already in hands, fingers are already on triggers, people are already dying. By that point, there's no point in calling out for Islam at that point. You should have had it way before. It's a preventative measure. It would have stopped this from happening in the first place. But the promise of shaitan is already there. لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I'm here, I'm there, I'm above you, I'm below you, to your right, to your left, I'm going to misguide you no matter what. And mashallah, us Muslims, we're here. We're here in the place, in the world, part of the world that can actually make a difference. We're here watching Netflix and Christmas specials and worrying whether we should say Merry Christmas to another. There's levels to the game. There's levels to the game. Brothers and sisters, there are major turmoils going on in the world. Shaitan is working its hardest. Have you heard this Akhir Zaman talk? The end of days eschatology type, where the days will be shortened, and a day that seemed that was like 100 years in length before now only seems like 40 days, and then another one is going to be an hour, and another one is going to be a minute, and the time frames of a day is going to get smaller and smaller and faster, meaning that the amount of fasad, the amount of corruption, the amount of change that happens at any one point in time is going to be so quick that it's going to be insurmountable to be able to fathom, and it's going to be so quick that so much is going to be able to be able to happen in a short space of time that wasn't able to happen previously over a number of years. It's that time now where things are happening so rapidly you can't make sense of it. Things are kicking off here, things are kicking off there. There's news coming at you from all different angles. You don't know whether to believe this side or that side, and whether the Janjaweed were part of it back in 2003 and they're still part of it now, and what's going on with Hamidti and all these other things. Everything is all over the place, and you don't know who to believe in, who not to believe in, what to do and what not to do, and things are going so quickly. That's shaitan's work for you right there. So either we're awake to it, or we let it pass us by. If it kicks off over there, believe it or not, it's going to kick off over here. And if we haven't already taken up the mantle of Islam in our own hearts, then we're not going to be able to push it back with that Islam and that Iman that we have. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and give us a tawfiq to recognize the tricks of shaitan when we see them, to fight against them and push back against them wherever they are, whether they are here on our own soil or abroad. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and steadfastness upon Islam. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. عباد Allah, the best place to start is with dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us the tawfiq to be able to come out of our troubles and our trials and our tribulations. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في السودان يا رب العالمين. اللهم وفقنا يا كريم لكل عمل تحب وترضاه. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.